Before deploying, spending time with your loved ones, with your family is paramount.
Obviously, the most scary thing about deployment is that like your parent could die, and having to think about that is terrifying. But also another thing that really scared me was knowing that like my dad was going through a lot, and like PTSD is a real thing, and knowing that when he came back he might not be the same person who left.
A lot of people don't know that before deployment you're already gone a lot. There's so many workups that have to be done, so much training that has to be done, so many long hours that have to be put in. So any time that you can spend with family prior to actually deploying needs to be utilized. I can't stress that enough.
I'm the oldest in my family, so when my dad deployed, a lot of stuff fell on me, especially with helping to raise my younger siblings. So it's kind of this awkward, I kind of had to give up being their sister in order to be their parent in a lot of ways, which caused a lot of just a different relationship with my younger siblings that has started changing over time, but it's definitely weird. And you kind of give up going to as many slumber parties because your mom needs you some nights, and you don't entirely know how to connect with others in the same way because there's so much going on, and you kind of have to give up on the idea of a normal childhood, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just different.
From my experience, I can say that doing extremely arduous labor in highly dangerous environments away from the people you love, of course that changes you, especially when that's your day in and day out. And dealing with other cultures really is an eye-opening experience. That requires you to grow as a person. People see things a lot differently in other parts of the world, and a lot of times people don't like you at all.
Yeah, I definitely feel that I was a strange child and different than my friends, particularly when it came to spending time and talking to them. Their problems didn't quite match with my problems, and it was hard to connect in general. And also moving all the time is really hard to make friends that last, and quite often you find that friends will forget who you are altogether, or they just the relationship can't last as well because you're not there.
There's no doubt changes that take place. When you come home, the first thing I notice is that everything moves differently. People react differently. It's hard to go back to a regular job, for sure. It's hard to go back to hanging out with your old friends. It's hard to even talk amongst your family, your loved ones at first, because everyone talks so differently, and you can't really share the kind of lifestyle you were living because no one really understands it. The only people you can share it with are the people that were there.
So it was either the airport, the bus station, the back of the armory when they drop off their weapons. We always went somewhere to meet my dad, and that was always the most exciting day, but also the most stressful because the house has to be perfectly clean before you leave, and then you can't get any stains on your clothes when you eat food beforehand. You want to look your best and be your best, and then it's super painful because you see them get off the bus or off the plane, and then you can't go and say anything. You have to just stand there and wait until some other guy with a louder voice than you comes by and says, "Oh yeah, you can go see your dad now." And then everyone charges, and it's super exhilarating.
On my last deployment, I got flown home a little bit early, and my girlfriend, who's now my wife, she was waiting for me with a welcome home sign that was personalized, and yeah, that was an amazing feeling because that's something you think about pretty often, when you're going to see your loved ones again. And my goodness, I mean, that was a 36-hour trip to get there, and I was thinking about it the whole time, so it was pretty surreal. It was phenomenal.
I would say that it's not just the parents and the men and women who serve that are sacrificing, it's the kids, and that they really should be saluted because they're making a huge sacrifice and giving up their parents.